Good evening. Be a warrior, not a warrior. Mike Kodima here. So, I mentioned during a conference call or Zoom call a little while ago a testimony about what I called the demon in Vermont. And so I figured I would bring it up because it's in the chronology of the events of what I've already put up on my channel. So I thought I would mention it here. I'm not going to mention any names in particular in this one because it's not really necessary. There weren't that many. Well, there were many people involved, but the main characters are just a few. So at this time, a gentleman was staying with me, a young friend of mine who had gotten kicked out of his home by his father, and I prayed with him, talked to him about Jesus, and well, we had a lot of discussions about the Bible. He knew me before I was a Christian, so that was what that was about. And he just needed a couch to rest on, so I gave him mine. Now he had a lot of his own issues, but he was very curious about God, especially since I had become saved. And so about midnight, the second night he was staying with me, a friend of ours called, a mutual friend of ours called my house, my apartment, back when they still had, I had a phone, yeah, I did. That's how long ago this is. It's crazy. I know. And so he asked me to go up to a place in Vermont where a friend of his, a woman, was being kind of held. And what I mean by that is she went up there as a witch, a Wiccan type of thing, and wanted to see the ghosts and experience things at a haunted place. And they appeared, and not visibly, but they started scratching her body. And it wasn't that was the problem. It was the fact that people that went with her that night wouldn't let her leave. They surrounded her, had cameras, had camcorders, if you know what those are, like video cameras, and they were recording everything, and they surrounded her. So my mutual friend who was up there with her called me and said, "Mike, I don't know who else to call. Can you come up here?" Okay, it took me like 2 hours to get up there. By the time I got up there, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. And when I arrived, the girl said she felt something on her back, so they took the back of her shirt up, and something had been scratching the words "go" multiple times on her back. Go, 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 go. It was facing me when I arrived with my Bible. And these scratches just appeared. They were like thin scratches, like a cat scratch type of thing. But she also had wider scratches on her face and down her arms. And she was not happy at the time, let's just say it that way, when I got there. And I basically went up and went closer, and the Holy Spirit hit me and said to me, "Michael," I should say God sent to me through the power of the Holy Spirit, "Michael, this is the type of thing that was attacking you your whole life." I remember having a lot of depression and anger when I was a kid. Sometimes it would just come out of nowhere. And it caused a lot of problems with relationships with with family and friends and other people, and kept me in many ways out of a relationship. And I dealt with bullies, always was in fights, defending myself. Now I realize much later, that this was like a spirit that was attacking me, likely because I was one of God's children before I knew it, that would later have a destiny with God, and I believe I do, and have been walking it for a long time. Now, what happened at that moment was I opened my Bible to where Jesus rebuked the demoniac, or the demons, I should say the demons in the demoniac. And I just started yelling it at the top of my lungs. The Holy Spirit came over me very powerfully for the first time since I'd been saved. It was very powerful. And I just started rebuking this demon, this demonic thing. And after a few minutes of this, it went away, and it stopped scratching the girl. She said she couldn't feel anything. She had scratches all over after this was done. They kept her there for a little while longer, and then they left. This group left without my mutual friend or the gentleman who was staying with me. At that point, the Holy Spirit came over me again and said, "Michael, leave. Go." So I took my friend, who was staying with me, and we went back to my apartment. The next day, I got a phone call from the gentleman who had asked me to go up there, and he told me that they had brought the girl back to that spot, and But when they got there again, the second time, nothing happened. Nothing happened. And they couldn't make the ghost come back. They were upset at me because they thought I had scared away a ghost. Lord actually did say to me that one day I might go back there. I haven't yet. It's been a long time. I'm waiting for God to tell me if I should at some point. And we'll see, if that's the case, we'll see what happens. Anyway, that was my first experience, a direct experience with a demonic force that I was aware of. Obviously, some of these things, they work through people, they work through other places, they work through other things. They're much, they're around, I don't want to say more than I thought, but definitely now that I've had more experience over the years with these entities, I would say they are definitely closer than I thought, and when I'm in most places, though not quite as plentiful as far as just running around all over the place and being everywhere all the time. That is not what I believe is happening anymore. Anyway, we can get into that in another video in the future, and maybe do one specifically on demonic forces and stuff like that, and different types of spirits. But that's the basically, I went home. That young man who was with me was curious. Let me pray for him again. He actually passed away, the gentleman who was staying with me, about a year later, and it was kind of devastating. He wasn't a close friend of mine, but he did know a lot of my friends, and he wasn't. Even though he had a lot of problems, it was kind of sad to see him go. And he left behind a son and a girlfriend. I hope he's in heaven. I really do. He was the first situation where I wasn't sure, to be honest with you, where he went. But I'll never forget him. He was a good experience. We had a lot of good conversations about Jesus. I'll just say it that way. Anyway, be a warrior, not a worrier. God bless you all, and have a good night.